Now we move into the conversation here on Soul Sisters. About 2 weeks back, we had that intense conversation on abusive relationships. I had a therapist, a counselor, a trauma therapist, not just any therapist, and also a counselor. And then I also had a legal practitioner and the founder of Gnosis Help Initiative, a person who's been in this field for about 20 years, relating and talking with people who have been in this. And I thought, no, we can't just do this for for 45 minutes. It was not enough. So we had to have the second part of the conversation. And guess what? There is no Zoom today, no network interruption. It's going to be smooth all through. So first off, please join me as I make welcome the counselor and trauma therapist, Olabisi Osidame. Good morning.
Good morning, Sharon. Good morning, everyone.
Thank you so much for joining me, and thank you for being here in the studio live.
Thank you.
And then, of course, please make welcome my very special guest, Barrister Olumide Omosebi. Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
I mean, at some point, I was wondering if both of you will be able to make it into the studio considering your schedule, but
Yeah.
I just took that leap. And here we are. All right, so we can as well just go back to it. But before we talk about how to leave abusive relationships, that's the topic for this morning. Let's just have a little bit of refresher because we're not able to fully drill down into some of the reasons why people stay and remain in abusive relationships. But there was something I was thinking about, so we'll start with this. Are there some behaviors that the society that are actually inherently abusive, but the society has normalized, and that's probably one of the reasons why those people remain in this abusive relationship? Now, if you think there are some of those behaviors, what do you think they are? Okay, ladies first.
All right. Thank you, Sharon. Okay, so one of it is, abuse is when one person has financial control over another. I think in this part of the world, it's seen as love when a man tells his wife, or his partner, you don't need to work, I'll take care of all your bills. You just hang in there, enjoy life. And we all know that, yes, as sweet and nice as that is, financial, independence is key for every single person. The moment you depend on someone for everything, basically, because finance is key to everything, and then that means whatever happens, if the person is out of the picture, you're on your own. Whenever you do not do the things this person wants, then it's a problem. Traditional system also are the opinion, that the women should submit to their husbands or their partners. Submission has been defined in different ways by different religions, if you know what I mean. So every culture describes submission in different ways. Could be he can talk to you anyhow, he can have control as to who you can see and who you should not see, and that's where isolation sometimes comes in to the picture. It could be you can't make any decision without me, which means he gets to have the final say over some decisions that even pertain to you as a person. So you can see that, our system, that's two. And then the third one is the truth is the community, the legal system, they are aware there is abuse. But the thing also is quite often than not, it's not addressed. So even those who are abused are aware that if I talk about this, I'm going to be the one who is stigmatized. I'm the one who will be left out in the cold with no support system, as it were. I mean, there's a level the advocates programs can support you to, but again, if you do not have a support system, which you've been isolated from, if you do not have financial independence, then you're literally on your own, and maybe with children as well. So our system hasn't been set up in a way, generally overall, and I'm pretty sure Mr. Omosebi here will explain for that, to allow women, and even men, come out of relationships that do not perfect.
How about you, Barrister Omosebi?
Well, what I would start with the first thing you said about financial It's called financial abuse when a spouse takes over your finances. We have cases where uh, there was a senior colleague of mine, a lawyer, whose salary was being paid into her husband's account. Her husband's account was her salary account.
Mm-hmm.
So the husband decides, at least that one is even allowed to work. There are some that will just tell you that, listen, go home, stay home with the children. But you see, what people don't realize is that it is actually a crime. It is against the law. There's a law against stopping people from working. It's the Violence Against Persons Prohibitions Act, Section 12, subsection 1. Let me read that. The person who causes forced financial dependence or economic abuse of another commits an offense and is liable on conviction to a term of imprisonment not exceeding 2 years or a fine not exceeding 500,000 or both. So people don't know, first of all, when you stop someone who is capable, who went to school, where I have someone who is a first class student, the first class graduate,
Mm-hmm.
and husband just told her one time that, you know what, you're pregnant, and I want you to stop work and stay home. Why do if you want someone who did not, if you want someone who
Who stay at
will
home.
stay at home, then why don't you go for an illiterate, someone who did not go from the get-go, but someone who is capable? Now, that person, the government is even losing tax on that person.
Mm.
So it is a law, it is a crime for you to stop. And these are issues that are often overlooked. You just say, but he's taking care of you. No, not when you can take care of yourself. Now, this is what happens. Suddenly, that man loses his job.
Mm-hmm.
And now there's no family, no food. During COVID, 4,000 people lost their jobs in the financial sector. Can you imagine? Now, you stopped her from working, you have lost your job. There was a gentleman in my area, he lost his job during COVID. He couldn't stay at home, so every morning he would still wear his suit and go out as if he's going to work.
Couldn't tell his
He
wife.
did that for 3 months until, his reserves, his savings, were exhausted, and he had to now find a way he started doing menial jobs. But you stopped this lady from working. Why?
Barrister Omosebi was talking about a financial dependency and, forced financial dependency. And we talked about finances. And I just want to know, joint accounts. What are your first? I'll start with therapist Olabisi. What's your take on it? Should it be a thing?
Oh yeah. You know how it is when you always have a pro and con for every
Yeah.
single issue. That's what it is really. Because with joint accounts, in a trusting and healthy relationship, it is beneficial. Because then we could have joint projects that we need to execute. Pay mortgage, buy a car, build a house, or pay for maybe school fees, further education or relocation as we see now. But also in a relationship where from the get-go things are not as it seems, or there are certain unhealthy elements to the relationship, we all know that it's an issue, because when everything begins to unravel and then you are deciding that I cannot continue in this relationship, two things can happen. The accounts can be wiped out by the other party, or even before that happens, something happens to the money. There's somebody who has no financial control, who cannot regulate, who indulges in maybe some very interesting activities like gambling, and we've seen that happen over and over again. I think that to every joint account, if you ask me, is either party cannot withdraw without both signatures, or both, there's a confirmation from the bank for both signatories to the account. That way, yes, that can work. But also, it has a very, shaky side to it, because again, we're talking about abusive relationships, and the truth is, sometimes a woman or a man in an abusive relationship can lose confidence, lose reasoning in a relationship, and just give veto power to the other party to withdraw. The truth remains that the moment a party in a relationship begins to think, I'm beginning to have second thoughts about this relationship, is the time when such a person should begin to put some money aside. You should have, you can have a joint account, but you should also have a personal account where, just in case something happens, just in case you need to make the decision of stepping out of the relationship, you can actually find your footing.
I see where it's telling me they're smiling already.
I was just imagining joint my summation on joint accounts is that it does not mean it would make your marriage work. It will make it not work. It is just an accessory. So if you choose, for example, the abusive partner would always get the say in any accounts. They control both theirs and yours. So I think that it has really no bearing on whether the
You have a
marriage
joint account
will
or not.
be. So I never really think about it. But however, in a healthy marriage, anything can work once it's healthy. Both of you can. But in an abusive man, someone always is at an advantage. Someone always is an advantage. I'll just call you, sign the check. I want to take some. I don't need to say, please, just sign it, and then someone is always, so to me, it's not even an issue.
Okay, thank you very much. That's well dealt with. But let's go further now. What are some of those signs that when you begin to see them, your brain should scream, it's time to go? In a relationship / marriage.
Red flags.
Yes, the red flags.
The red flags. In a cycle of abuse, the moment you see that your partner cannot handle external stressors, maybe a change of role at work or sudden traffic based on maybe road renovation or outside family conflicts, external family conflicts, certain crises are coming up. Maybe a child is ill and it looks like your partner cannot manage their emotions. That's a red flag. And then it escalates every single time. You can't talk to them about it because they just get frustrated. They just always throwing a tantrum or a fit. It shows that such a person may have been triggered based on maybe a childhood, a similar experience from childhood, which they cannot handle. And if that continues, if there is no intervention in place, such a situation can escalate and lead to the incident of abuse. What happens after that shows maybe it's a one-off issue, which I doubt. One-off abuses, we know that doesn't really happen. It's always, cyclical. It will go through. Get to the part where there is a reconciliation, gifts, to apologize, or to blame you or blame somebody outside for the situation. I wouldn't have done that. Me. It was the other person. I wouldn't have done that within my situation. And or they say, oh, you provoked me. You provoked me. I wouldn't have hit you, or I wouldn't have done that to you. So when you start saying that such a person cannot handle emotional stressors, such a person does not own up responsibility for whatever role they're in. So when there's something good or they've achieved something, they're quick, to own up and say, oh, I did that, I achieved that. But when it comes to they making a mistake or there being an issue that they contributed to, may not be the sole cause, but contributed towards a situation or a negative outcome, and they are not able to say, okay, I'm sorry, this was my role, but they're always quick to blame other people, and you've noticed that is a red flag. Another red flag in a relationship is, the truth is, trust should come into a relationship, and boundaries. The person who cannot respect your boundaries is a red flag. They're telling you it's because they love you. They want you to know where you are per time. It's not love. That means there's no trust in that relationship. That means the person possibly is paranoid and doesn't want a situation where somebody else controls you or takes your time or takes your attention off them. So they feed on your attention, they feed on your confidence, they feed on your care of them. they feed on everything positive. They can literally drain you of everything. When you see that you're always giving, or you are becoming careful not to hurt them, so you're going somewhere, you can start seeing yourself, because it's very gradual. Sometimes you're not able to pinpoint that, okay, a line has been crossed here. But then you're thinking this person loves me, so you're at home, you want to quickly step out to buy something in the shopping mall next to the house, and you're sending a message, because in your mind you're thinking, if I go there now and I already sent him a message, I'm at home, and he sees me there buying something, or he sees somebody passing by, or a man or a woman greeting me, and then says that I was lying. The moment you start seeing yourself having some thoughts that are alien to you, that are external to you, then you know that there's something amiss in this relationship. A relationship where you cannot truly be yourself, be independent, be trusted to make the right decisions, where you're being, followed, where you're being monitored, where you're being blamed for things, or where there is ghosting, or where there's love bombing, where you love me today, then tomorrow you're not showing me love. So I'm asking, what did I do? And then you tell me that I did something that I didn't like, or I didn't call you, or you didn't call me. And okay, this is outrageous. There's something there. There's a red flag there.
Okay. Now, I'm definitely coming to you, Barr Olumide, but I'll quickly take this break. And when we come back, we'll start with your thoughts on these flags. Then I also want to take you further as a barrister. Now, how do we strike this? I don't know how to frame it, but then we seem to be having a very high increase, or an increase in divorce rates. And it looks like maybe the threshold for people to work out things in their relationship to make it work, because you would hear conversations of, oh, back then our parents did everything to make it work, but these days people don't want to take anything again. So imagine that side by side with what are the things that you should see and just take off.